Part 44, Prince Duan wants to build Dayan Country's first horse farm. Next, Ming Yu has to plan the place where the horse farm will be built, which is a place with lush water and grass. In fact, Ming Yu has been paying attention to this for a long time. The biggest disadvantage of Liangzhou is that the water source is too scarce. The Qifeng River is already a relatively large river, but the terrain there is not very satisfactory. Since the horse farm is going to be built, does the prince have a good location for the horse farm? Xie Yishou asked with concern. If Ming Yu can really build Dayan Country's first horse farm, it will be a great thing for Dayan Country. At least the soldiers will not have to use infantry against the cavalry of the Yi people because of the lack of horses. And their Red Robe army also has the opportunity to expand in size. At that time, they really don't have to be afraid of the barbarians attacking. The soldiers will come to block, the water will cover up, and even sooner or later launch a counterattack to attack the royal court of the barbarians. Ming Yu frowned, and he was also worried. I had considered the east of Qifeng River Valley before, but the land is too small and not suitable for raising horses, and other places are too far from the water source, and there is not enough water and grass, so naturally it cannot be raised horses. Now this prince is helpless and can't do anything. Xie Yishou pondered for a moment, then suggested, "Have you seen the Chonglin Mountain area?" Chonglin Mountain? Ming Yu thought about it carefully. He still had some in the image when he first came to Liangcheng. He passed through Chonglin Mountain, where Xie Yishou's Red Robe army surrounded and wiped out a small group of foreign bandits who entered Liangzhou. And the first time he saw Xie Yishou was there. General Xie in a Red Robe army, overlooking the entire battlefield, where he was, the prince on the entire battlefield. Up to now, that scene is still deeply in Ming Yu's mind. However, there is no water source near Chonglin Mountain? Ming Yu asked in confusion. Xie Yishou nodded. Does your prince know? Qifeng River passes through Chonglin Mountain, but it is blocked by Chonglin Mountain. Ming Yu was stunned. He didn't notice this. He tugged at Xie Yishou's sleeve. Let's go. Let's look at the topographic map. After speaking, he pulled the man and hurried away. Here is the guard camp, the map of Liangzhou and the reduced-scale terrain sand table. Ming Yu couldn't understand the maps made by people today, so he came up with a sand table model, which is convenient and clear at a glance. He is now sitting in front of the sand table, looking at the terrain around Chonglin Mountain. Xie Yishou is right. To the west of Chonglin Mountain is a large area of flat grassland, but the Qifeng River is to the east of Chonglin Mountain. So, Ming Yu did not take this place into consideration. It's a pity. Ming Yu looked at the terrain for a while. If it wasn't for Chonglin Mountain, this plain and grassland would be the most suitable place to build a horse farm. No matter how strong his ability is, it is impossible to remove Chonglin Mountain. If it is to dig a canal, it is not realistic. In this world, the production capacity is backward, and no matter what you do, you can only rely on human shoulders to carry it. Unlike the future generations where Ming Yu once lived, it can be done easily with high-tech means such as mechanical explosives and medicine. Xie Yishou looked at Ming Yu's expression, and pointed with his finger to a place on the sand table not far from Chonglin Mountain on Qifeng River, and said softly, "Can you think of a solution here?" Ming Yu followed his finger. In the past, nothing special was found. He turned his head to look at Xie Yishou for unknown reasons. His eyes were full of inquiries. This prince just came to Liangzhou not long ago, so I didn't know that this is the place. In previous years, when there was a flood, the Qifeng River would flood here. In more serious times, even the Qifeng River was diverted to Chonglin Mountain. Xie Yishou breathed out what he knew. It is precisely because the rising water recedes that the sediment is left behind. and a flat land is gradually formed. Therefore, the land west of Chonglan Mountain is fertile, and even the grass is more lush than other places. What's going on? Ming Yu was very pleasantly surprised. So as long as the water source problem is solved, there is a real hope that a horse farm can be built here. Ming Yu leaned down and took a closer look at the place Xie Yisho pointed. After looking at it like this, he finally found some clues. This should be a canyon opening. The terrain is much lower than other places. It would be better if the Qifeng River did not produce water. As long as the water produced, the mouth of the canyon could be submerged, and it would flow across the Chonglan Mountain to the plain grassland. In this way, what Xie Yisho said, it is not impossible to think of a solution in this place. Ming Yu wrapped his arms around his arms and held his chin in one hand as if thinking. Xie Yisho didn't bother. Just stood aside to watch him frown and think hard. When Ming Yu was thinking about the question, he lowered his eyebrows and pursed his lips, only immersed in his own world. Before, when Ming Yu discussed with him the strategy of encircling and suppressing bandits, he often saw Ming Yu's appearance, and the light of that person made people unable to look away. After a long time, Ming Yu's brows gradually stretched, and he snapped his fingers lightly, and said excitedly, "Yes, maybe we can really divert this section of Qifeng River. As long as the river can flow from the west of Chonglan Mountain, nourish this pasture, then it is most suitable for this place to become the largest horsebreeding place in Liangzhou." Ming Yu's flying attitude made Xie Yisho also fly with his mood. Ming Yu always has the charm of his unique style, infecting the people around them. Xie Yisho's eyes softened. "That's good." Ming Yu groaned and wailed, "Ah, ah. But this is another big project. And it will cost a lot of money. This prince is short of money." Money. He had never worried about money before. But now he feels more and more that silver tails are useless and spend money wherever they go. No, it is true that the goods brought back from the western regions can be realized as soon as possible. As soon as he looked up, he saw Xie Yisho, who was caught off guard and didn't have time to look away. He was only slightly taken aback, and said with a smile, "General Xie. I heard that General Xie is rich. How about it, do you have any? Interested in investing a little together, a small investment now, a big return in the future. As a general, he only needs to lead troops to fight. Wherever he needs to participate in the race, with the Prince Ming Yu, he still has to avoid suspicion." So, Xie Yisho shook his head and refused directly. "I don't have wealth, so how can you say that I am rich?" "My prince, did you hear something wrong?" Ming Yu pouted in disbelief. "A man's mouth is a liar." Xie Yisho is from himself. The benefits of Bianchu in the past are no longer small, so why are you still pretending to be poor here? However, he also knew the reason for avoiding suspicion in the officialdom, so he was just joking, and he did not necessarily want to join him. After making a few more jokes, Ming Yu just gave up. And his mind fell on the matter in front of him. Of course, diverting water and changing the river case is not a trivial matter that can be accomplished overnight. And it is still too early to say anything. The most important thing is to get the money in place first, and take your time with the rest. If you don't have money, don't think about anything. After returning, Ming Yu summoned Bua Tan overnight. Now he can only count on the batch of goods that Bua Tan brought back. If it can be realized as soon as possible, he won't have to worry so much. Although Bua Tan was drunk yesterday, he had sobered up a long time ago. Seeing that it was getting late, he thought that the prince would wait for 2 days before summoning him. But unexpectedly he was so anxious to summon him overnight. After washing up for a while, Bua Tan went to the palace. Ming Yu had been waiting for a long time. At this time, He didn't care about being polite and asked directly, "How much did you bring back from your trip to the western regions this time?" Bua Tan was prepared for Ming Yu's question. He took out a booklet from his arms and handed it to Ming Yu with both hands. "This time the list of goods is all recorded in this booklet. Please take a look at it." Ming Yu took it over and turned it over. It was full of more than 10 pages of small print on mosquitoes and flies, and all the goods were clearly recorded by category. "My prince, the harvest this time was far more than that. Almost half of the goods were exchanged for horses," Bua Tan said truthfully. Ming Yu nodded, surprised at the astonishing returns from foreign trade. When Bua Tan left, he only had more than a dozen trucks and swallows of items, but when he returned, there were more than 3 or 5 times more. When these Western goods were sold, the profits would snowball. Although Ming Yu had already predicted this before, but when he really saw it and took it in his hand, it still made Ming Yu feel a little unreal. No wonder, since ancient times, they have paid great attention to foreign commerce and trade. And there are even foreign trade taxes that are no less than the local taxes. There were once merchants who risked their lives to smuggle goods, which was driven by huge interests. This also makes Ming Yu firmly confident to build Liangcheng into a foreign trade distribution center. In this way, Liangcheng can feed the entire Liangzhou just by collecting taxes from the merchants. Ming Yu nodded, looking at the spices in the booklet, gem agate, fur blankets and all kinds of Western treasures full of characteristics. Ming Yu narrowed his eyes slightly, his stables depended on these things. "You have done a good job," Ming Yu praised. "Doing things with this prince will not treat you badly. When the time is right in the future, this prince will play the court to show his merit for you." Bua Tan's mind, "I am overjoyed. The prince's words have already made it clear that he will no longer be a little pawn with no name, and may even be rewarded by the Dayan Court. Doing things for the prince. The villain does not dare to be greedy, and only wants to do his best to complete the task assigned by the prince, in order to repay the prince's kindness to the villain." Bua Tan said sincerely. If it wasn't for the prince, he might have accomplished nothing by now. He had already understood the risks on this trip, if it wasn't for the prince to arrange it properly. Just because he wanted to rashly travel west, he would never succeed. It was the prince who fulfilled his lifelong wish, and he will go through fire and water for the prince. Ming Yu smiled and waved his hand. "When you travel to the western regions in the future, you will have to work hard for you. This prince is not a mean and unkind person. You just need to remember that if you pay, you will be rewarded, and this prince will remember it." His heart-to-heart words made Bua Tan extremely grateful. It was his luck to meet a master like Ming Yu.